In this video, I will be demonstrating how to irreparably ruin your Terraria world. But before I do that, I need to demonstrate to you a very important concept that actually gets this whole thing in motion, right? Without this concept, you won't be able to do anything I'm going to show you today. Mostly. So, this is a thing called liquid duping, which if you've been playing Terraria for a long time, you probably know about already, is the thing where you take a bucket of water and you put it on a block and you pick it up before you pick up that block of water with the bucket while some more spills over the side. So basically, you've just created a bucket plus whatever spilled over the side, and then you still get to keep the bucket, and then you can basically repeat that over and over again. And every time the liquid falls over a singular block, you make like a pyramid form to make it fall over as many as is possible physically. Every time you do that, you get a little bit more liquid. That's one way to liquid dupe. However, when pumps and wire and all that stuff were added after the wire updates and the pumps and stuff, turns out that you can actually do liquid duping by just connecting multiple outlet pumps. You can see I've got a whole bunch here to an inlet pump, like a single inlet pump. And yes, this is all honey. And yes, this right here is probably more honey than you'll find. Like, this screen is probably more than you'll find in an entire small world. Just straight up, probably. Let me just show you real quick. Let this run for a moment. So I've got, it only picked up 2 of them this time. I'm not sure why. The game seems to have difficulty handling large amounts of moving honey at a time, which is probably why it didn't quite work out like I was thinking. But 1 inlet pump pulled in 4 blocks of honey, dispensed it out to 2 outlet pumps, which have a functionally liquid duper right here with this block, and then another one there. Give it a moment. This might not actually be enough to spill over the side, but you'll notice that this is functionally a net gain of honey. Right? Which means that if you set up a whole bunch of these... Oh, hold on. Is it actually going to spill over the side here? Yeah, there it goes. See? Net gain of honey. Simple starter pool, net gain of honey. And these dungeon bricks here, I'll explain what those are for later. So if you set up a whole bunch of these... And by that I mean like a whole bunch of these. Yeah, it's not like the most grandiose freaking setup you've ever seen, but it's a lot. If you set up a whole bunch of these, you can do some really great stuff. Please allow me to demonstrate. Before I do that though, do notice that I am at the top of the world right now. Look at my altitude. It's gonna chill at 582. Let me just hop down here real quick. Notice what I'm at now. 371. You see how this is all honey? Let me just show you my map real quick. Bam! Wait for it. Bam! Ah! Irreparably destroyed. Look at this. There's nothing here. It's just honey. Okay, I'm not even gonna try and say how many hours this took to pull off. But let's just say that I left my computer running overnight for like a week straight. And this is only a small world. I look forward to the day that I have the patience to do this in a large world. That'd be beautiful. But basically, I started by thinking, you know what? Many years ago, I flooded an entire world with water. Because it was fun, right? Because why the hell not? And I got the whole thing flooded. But my problem with that setup was the fact that water automatically evaporates in the underworld, like it just disappears. So I could only really flood the surface layer of the world. Honey, however, clearly does not. So I decided to flood an entire world with honey. Whenever I was thinking about it, I would hop on to my computer and be like, let's see how much honey we've got. There's quite a bit. That's not enough. I bet I could do better. So what I did was I took a good old mining drill mount, the drill containment unit, and I started tearing out the underworld, and I just kind of blasted away everything. And yes, that includes the lava. Oh, the lava down there was a pain in the ass to remove, because when lava and honey collide, they form crispy honey blocks, which in order to delete the lava from the world, you have to delete all those blocks, and it takes a really long time, but I did do it. And then eventually, after a bunch of that, I thought, you know, the underworld is completely clear now, but I bet I could remove the rest of the world here before I actually get the whole thing filled up, right? The whole world filled, flooded deluge with honey, right? So, I started tearing away at the regular world blocks, the stone, the cavern layer, all that great stuff. And then I had a realization. The mining drill mount is great. It's fast. If I remember correctly, it's estimated to mine about 70 blocks a second, which is really good. Don't get me wrong. But I remembered that these exist. Rocket 4s. Rocket 4s have a blast radius that is comparable to dynamite, the explosive. So I don't even want to try calculating how fast these things can mine out the world because it's obscene. So you combine that with a good old godly snowman cannon, which I could do better and have this be something with a speed like a fire rate modifier, which I don't have the patience for that. And then I did this. All of this. All of this. And all of this. I exposed the dungeon. I actually tore out most of the top part of the dungeon just because I needed those bricks because they are explosion proof. I needed them to build an explosion barrier for my machine up here, which I did break a few times by just willy-nilly rockets everywhere, right? So yeah, this is all honey. Oh, and by the way, one other important thing I want to mention. If you ever want to try this, you will be absolutely suffering. Like, I kid you not, suffering without this thing. I know you gotta beat Dukefish on an expert difficulty to get it, but I didn't think that this thing would, like, give you the buffs that it does in water when you're also in honey, but apparently it does, and now you can travel at 82 miles an hour, which is beautiful. Anyway, yeah, this is all honey. It's just honey. It's honey. That's it. It's just honey. And oh, and all of these are demon altars because, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's not very easy to summon and fight the wall of flesh down here because there's no lava and there's no guide. There is a goblin tinkerer who somehow is survived all this time in the dungeon. I'm not sure how, but yeah. So I can't remove the demon altars, which is a shame. But you know, small blemishes. It actually looks like I missed some blocks. I'm gonna go take care of that while I'm talking. Small blemishes be damned. I mean, whatever, right? I guess I'll take a moment here to demonstrate the actual power of explosives. Rocket 4s and a snowman cannon. Did I actually miss some things here? Or... wait, is that them? It is. Yeah, I guess I just missed some blocks. Or no. Those are some of like the corruption vines that grow, the ones that hurt you and that obliterate you in the early game if you're in expert difficulty. So yeah, a few things I do want to point out here about this whole thing. When you look at the map, you see that this is all a solid yellow mass that's the same. That's basically the same hue the whole way through. But if you look around in the other half, it's less than half of the world. The other, like 7/8, 7/16 is what I meant to say. The other like 7/16 or so, I don't know, 14/16, whatever, of the world that's left, you see there's a whole bunch of these little discolorations. That is because lighting. Basically, after I took out all of this land right here, all of this landmass, I wanted to make all of it a consistent yellow color. So the only way to do that was to take all of those little yellow, all of those like off-color yellow splotches and blips and blemishes and stuff, and lighten them up. And the best way I found to do that is using this thing. Very large light explosions. That or Jester arrows, actually, with a Phantasm works really well, or a Tsunami. But that's beside the point. And, yeah. The only way that it's even remotely possible to fix this world would be to take this machine, convert it over to water or lava, and then basically just cover the world in a layer of lava or water, destroy all those blocks, and repeat the process endlessly. And that would take so goddamn long that it's not even worth it. So if you ever want to destroy your Terraria world and ruin the lives of everyone who you invite over, which I have not done yet, and I wish I had, you too can try this horrible thing that I've done. I have yet to decide if I actually want to remove all the rest of the land, or if I want to remove the dungeon, or any of that stuff. I'm thinking about it. I might. I haven't decided yet. And also, yes, the islands are... the floating islands are also gone. Those are walls. That is something I gotta point out. I didn't bother removing all the walls in the background here. Like, I removed the walls in the underworld just because I don't know, they were easy access at the time, but I didn't remove all the walls in here because it's not even visible in the honey, so who cares? So technically I didn't remove everything. I didn't destroy everything, but I got most of it. This is just hilarious to me. Look at this poor jungle. Look at this poor jungle just obliterated. Like a big chunk of this desert here, this underground desert, parts of the corruption. Oh, excuse me. All sorts of great stuff. Anyway, yeah, there's not much else to say or to show here. It's just, it's honey. It's honey as far as the eye can see. Oh, and in case you want to know, oh, real quick, let me just show off how powerful the snowman cannon is with rocket 4s. Look at all this destruction. Wanton destruction. Who gives a freaking flying... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We lagging. Yep. Yep. In case you ever choose to do this, keep in mind this will happen to you a ton. If you've ever played Minecraft, like on a large scale, and you've ever messed with liquid updates and stuff, you know that games like this, sandbox games like this, have a lot of difficulty. Uh-oh. I really hope I didn't just do some horrible damage. Games like this have a lot of difficulty handling and calculating large amounts of liquid updates. So, if you ever try to do this sort of thing, just keep in mind that you will get those intense lag spikes a lot. It's kind of updating. Yeah, kind of, sorta. Sort of. It's a tedious process, and there's a lot of ways it can go wrong. Like, oh, there's actually some updates up here I hadn't already gotten to. There's a lot of ways this can go wrong. There is actually one specific type that I want to show off. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'll have to float my way down there. I'm not actually going to make this happen, because if I did, it would actually obliterate the vast majority of the honey that I've produced for this little project here. Little project. Funny. Most of it was just AFKing. But there is one other way that I could remove all of this honey, and the way that you do that is using either wooden beams or like minecart rails or actuated blocks actually would work for this. Basically, you hop in here. You see how there's these wooden beams back here? These wooden beams, they're not destroyed. I'm using the smart cursor, by the way. They're not destroyed with a hammer like most walls or background type things. They're destroyed with a pickaxe. So the game treats them as a block occupying that space. If I were to let all of this massive, gigantic, huge frickin' ocean of honey, water world of honey, down here to touch one of these water blocks that's over a wooden beam, perfect timing for a blood moon, right? If I were to let that happen, all of this honey would flow to that block, where the honey block that would spawn from the water and honey coming in contact, like all of these here, would try to form, but couldn't because there is functionally another block there, the wooden beam, and the game would repeat this endlessly, forever, until there's no honey flowing left. It would probably take for this much honey, it would probably take like 15 straight minutes of the game just trying to calculate what to do, and then literally every single bit of honey up there that could flow to that block in any capacity would be gone. Just completely gone. So it's not like this is really it's not like you're really irreparably destroying your Terraria world. You're just doing damage to it that I mean, look at this. I even flooded the dungeon just for fun. I had to go and open all of those doors. Really puts into perspective just how tiny the dungeon is in a small world. Like, it's really, really tiny. But anyway. There's not a whole lot else for me to say. I mean, the last thing I could do is I could go through and activate my machine just for fun, just to show you what it looks like when it's running. Why are there torches up there? I actually don't know why those are up there. That's very strange. And the way this mechanism works here, I've got, like I was talking about earlier, one inlet pump, per 5 outlet pumps, and then each one of those is hooked up to a single 1-second timer. Just, I mean, there are obviously more powerful Terraria-based like wire engines I could use for that, but I don't give a crap. Most of this project is literally just me leaving my computer running anyway. You just leave this thing going, and it will do its job. You could also do this with water, but like I said, the water does evaporate in the underworld, so you'd have to make some kind of protective barrier down there so the water has no way of flowing down. Because if it does, you're going to lose all of it every time it gains access to the underworld. You could also do this with honey, but, well, you know, did I say honey? I meant lava. You could do this with lava if you wanted to fill your inventory with obsidian skin potions, or I guess in theory you could use an obsidian rose and some really high defense armor. Like, I mean, I guess this kind of counts. It's just vortex. It's nothing special. It is actually very special. You could do this with any liquid in the game. Look at how hard of a time the game has trying to handle this liquid updates. Look at all this crap. Isn't it beautiful? See, what happened right there is the game took a moment, realized there's way too many liquid updates, paused, forced everything to update, and then when you hop down here, all of it flowed down. Just straight up. Yeah, that's it. There's really nothing else to show. In theory, this machine right here would flood the entire world up to this level right here, since I've got the blast shield up there to prevent wayward explosions from destroying my mechanism. It could fill up to this level, and I could just leave it running, and then it would be like everything would be so flooded the floating island remnants would be submerged. I could do that too. For what it's worth, I don't know. Or I could just hop down here and continue obliterating the rest of the world, because why not, right? Who's gonna stop me? That was a rhetorical question. Nobody can stop me. Ready for some carpet bombing? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Like I said, there's a chance whenever I do this sort of thing and start destroying the land here that I actually break everything by, like, exposing a point where all of the honey could flow into something that can't form a block. I could do that. It's possible whenever I throw missiles around. But, like, who cares? I can easily get it all back. It just seriously just takes a few hours of AFK. And I think that's it. I think that's really it. Thanks for watching. Excuse me while I get to a place where you can actually see me, because I'm sure YouTube's compression and lighting defaults will, like, obliterate parts of this video. Oh, right, I also forgot to mention, you're gonna need this. You're gonna need either this or at least the mermaid shell. So you become a merfolk when you enter the water, because if you don't have that, you will drown, because it's a liquid. Anyway, I think I'm done here. Thanks for watching. If you ever choose to obliterate your Terraria world in a similar fashion, please show me. I'm interested. I'm curious. I want to see it happen. And I look forward to the day, if it ever occurs, that we get a new liquid in this game so that I can do it with that one too. You know what I'd really love to see is if they added like oil, like fossil fuel oil to the game. Because if they did that, I could flood the whole world with oil and then I could set it on fire. And that would be, like, actually the best thing. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later with another video.